Hello and welcome to the second episode of HighSobriety podcast. I'm your host, Matt Busbridge, and today we are joined by the singer, songwriter, talent agent, Blithe. Blithe, how are you?
I am good. I'm lovely.
Brilliant.
I was saying to you earlier, I'm hungover, but not hungover because I went out last night. So I'm feeling the effects of tired night out vibes, but obviously no alcohol or anything else.
How was that for you?
I'm good at going out now.
Yeah.
I've learned how to go out without drinking. I feel like as long as you have a drink in your hand that isn't like obviously alcohol, but like isn't water.
Yeah.
You can pretend. And like you kind of forget there's no alcohol in it. So every time everyone does a round, you just put your little mocktail in with everyone else's. And yeah, I managed to stay out till 3 a.m. So.
Without the packet.
Without the packet.
No packet on your night out.
Yeah, in Chiltern as well. So it's like, we're doing well, guys. We're doing really, really well.
Such a classy sober, aren't you? Tell the viewers and listeners a little bit about yourself, a brief sort of explanation about your sort of music career.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so obviously I am a singer, songwriter, and that's how we kind of met through. It's sort of doing music for a long, long time, forever and ever and ever. And now I've kind of moved into, with my sober journey, I'm now an entrepreneur. And I started a management company, so I'm also now managing new artists and talents as well. And yeah, I'm 8 months sober today.
Round of applause for
you.
that.
I'm 8 months sober today. And yeah, I don't really know what else there is to say about that. Obviously, I've been doing music forever. And yeah, it's only this year really with my sober journey that I sort of started my other endeavours, because you kind of realise you're more than just your career and the drugs that you take. And here we are.
Did you find that you became more work focused when you became sober? Like you had less distractions and it was more about your own well-being and your own career, and you're thinking about just yourself instead of, you know, when am I going to go out, being hungover in certain situations?
It's weird. It's kind of like, I feel like I became selfish in a different way. Mm-hmm. Like before I was selfish because I was chaotic. So everything I did kind of spilled over into everyone around me because they have to pick up the pieces, right? Like when you're a bit of a mess. I think even just people that aren't super duper crazy, because I don't really ever say I was an addict, and I'm quite open about the fact that yes, I'm sober, but I was never really struggling. I never really went through any programs to go sober, and I don't really I don't wake up and.
So you went completely cold turkey.
I went completely just like off. But I think I was selfish in a different way because yes, I was still a messy person, and I tried to be work focused, and I was so crazy about being this career woman, but the math wasn't mathing because like I wasn't able to apply myself in the same way. So now I'm selfish in a different ways. Like I have boundaries, and like I can show up for people so much more now because I have the ability to do that, because I'm not a fucking wreck.
Yeah. Well, you find also, because I'm guessing like your social circles or your friendship circles, have they changed at all with your changes that you made to yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, and they're respecting your decisions.
Yeah, I mean, at first I think everyone was kind of like, okay, but I'm going sober.
1 week later.
Okay. Yeah. And then, you know, it was kind of like they were, you know, joking around like, all right, okay, so I'm live. And then I think as it kind of went on, everyone's like, oh shit, like she's actually doing this. And I think you naturally veer towards a slightly different crowd and a slightly different approach to your friendship group, because you kind of figure out really quickly who are the people that you are your friends, and then you call them up to actually speak about real life situations, and the people that you just go out with.
Yeah, of course.
So that really quickly kind of separated, and I spend a lot more time with people that I feel like I'm just naturally more close to, and that we have more to discuss in our day-to-day lives, rather than before I was spending so much time with people that aren't really in my life now, because it was just, who wants to grab a drink? Who wants to grab a drink on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? And those would be the people that I spent the most time with. So you're like, yeah, you're my best friend, but really, they don't even know my middle name. They don't even know my government name. Like, they just know me for going out all the time and like sharing gossip and secrets and that
Having
kind
kitchen
of stuff.
conversations.
Having kitchen conversations. Yeah, exactly.
What kind of motivated to going sober? Was it? Did you have? No, you don't have to delve too deep into it. But was there a certain situation?
I'll delve a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I was kind of having this moment in my career where I felt so much pressure to be a musician and like really be successful in it, but there was like a cognitive dissonance because really I wasn't enjoying it, and I'd stopped enjoying the process, and I wasn't enjoying what I was putting out. So I think at that point I kind of just switched it off. I can't remember the question. My ADHD just ADHD'd. That was it. What made me go sober. Yeah. So yeah, I had a little moment where I took a break, and on that break, instead of kind of realigning my thoughts, I think I just let myself run wild, and I was like, who am I if I'm not a musician? And I think it's such a self-indulgent profession as well, being an artist, like, because everything is about you and like what single you're bringing out next and what music you're making, and everyone wants to talk about it, which is amazing if you're doing really well and you're enjoying it.
You're like your flavour of the month.
If you stop enjoying it and you're kind of a little bit lost, and I felt really lost in my career at the time, I was just like a deer in headlights, and I just was like, fuck it. So I started drinking a lot more, I started going out a lot more, and I was just kind of numbing myself with sex and drugs and rock and roll. And I think I was just like living the thrills of my lifestyle rather than actually putting the work in. Mm-hmm. And I think it just spiraled to a point where the decisions I was making were not just like a little bit naughty, they were dangerous decisions, and I ended up in dangerous relationships. And when I came out of my last relationship at the beginning of this year, I was like, oh, I don't recognize the woman that I am. Yeah. The woman that I want to be and the woman that I am are so far removed now, like way more than at the beginning of this whole process. I need to get some control back. And I just realized that probably going sober would be the main, starting point, and just to gain some control. I was like, I'm turning 28, being in someone's kitchen at fucking 4 a.m. after a 2-day rollover, and then flying to whatever fucking country I fly to for a random man I don't know, just doesn't really fit the vibe anymore. Like, it's not sexy, it's not cool, and my life is never going to change if I do that. So I thought, I was sober curious, tried it for a little bit, and then one day I just said, that's it, I'm done. It's not cute anymore, I'm not enjoying it.
Did you see it more as a kind of coping mechanism to sort of, I don't know, pave over the shit that you was feeling at that time in terms of relationships, or even the stresses of being a musician and an artist? Did you find that it was just used to cope with that?
I used it to cope with everything. Yeah. So I used to carry around, oh my God, I'm really telling you the tea now. I used to carry around a handbag vodka. Yeah. So it was like anytime anything got a bit much, you just naturally be like, I just need a drink. And I think everyone does that. It's not that crazy to say that. But I think it became such a coping mechanism. And obviously, like, you're so afraid. I don't know, you know how it feels. Mm-hmm. You get terrified to wake up the next day and deal with the dread and also like all the shit you've put off. Yeah. And I kept leaving it for my future self to deal with. I'm like, she'll deal with that. Yeah, she is now. I'm going to deal with all that shit that she left me with. But you kind of put it off and you put it off. And I had this handbag vodka, because I took so many flights as well. That was like another escapism for me, was like literally escaping. And I'd always get fucking hammered. Just like, get hammered, book a flight, get hammered on the flight. I can go crazy. I just like give a shit. And I was traveling on my own as well. That's what I mean. It's so dangerous all the time. But I would get the little, you're ordering drinks on the flight and they give you the little bottles. Yeah. And I always have one. The second one went down because I took so many flights. I would only drink this one if that one could replace it. That makes sense. Yeah. And I always just had it as a safety in my handbag. And then I told someone about it and they went, what do you mean?
That's not normal.
That's not okay. And I'm like, oh shit, okay. So I kind of realized, that's not, it's not really it. So again, whatever. Like, it's the stories that I write about, and like everyone just thinks you're having fun, and I was, don't get me wrong, that's fucking amazing times. And I'm sure I have an amazing team.
Yeah.
But they're in LA, so that's already one thing. They're kind of far removed. But I've cried to my A&R on the phone about the most personal shit so many times. But yeah, I think if they knew the extent of what I was going through, they could always help me. They gave me the break that I asked for, which was the break that I sort of ended up spiraling in. I was like, I need a mental health break after that last EP. I just need a minute to not be in the studio like I have been for the last 10 years every single day of my life. She's like, babe, you go ahead, you do what you need to do. But yeah, the support, it was there if I needed it, but I realized if I'm gonna do this, I can't outsource that to other people. I can't, I can lean on people. I have amazing people in my life, but I really need to do the work inside and figure out what is going wrong in my life and why I'm doing the things I'm doing.
Well, it's tough opening up to people who are kind of like your bosses. Do you know what I mean? It's like me being here and being like, I only really need to talk to you about this load of gear that I did last night and that I stayed up to this amount of time. And it's, apart from my friends and my family, I think it is very hard to sort of open up because there's kind of that fine line where you feel like it's unprofessional, and then they might be like, "But you're a fucking mess." Like, out you go, dropped from the label.
Exactly. It's not even that, because I'm so close to my team. My A&R Ciara, she's been there since the beginning of my whole career. But it's I'm so scared. I was so scared to be perceived as not hardworking, and I couldn't handle my shit. So that was always the forefront. Put me in every session, make I'm gonna be there, don't you worry, you can rely on me. And I wouldn't care, whatever I could do to get through it, I just was pushing myself to every single limit. So that was my biggest thing. I could go to my team about personal things to a certain extent, but the second they thought I couldn't deal with my shit, I'm like, no, I can deal with it. Don't you worry though. I'm going through hell and back, but what have I got on? I'll show up. I'll be there early. Of course I will be, because I didn't want to be perceived as someone that couldn't handle my shit, and that perception was the thing I was trying to keep perfect, even though everything else was shit. And now I'm I don't care what anyone thinks of me. I've done the core work now.
Yeah.
I know that I work hard. I know what my value is. I don't care if people around me don't see that. That's on them.
Yeah. But it's you kind of just end up exhausting yourself.
Yeah.
Because some people do become, they are just people pleasers.
Yeah.
And they just want to sort of show to people that I can do that. I'll turn up to this meeting, I'll go and do this, I'll do more sort of rehearsals if you need me to. And I suppose with drugs and alcohol, like I said, you are kind of just paving over that shit. Do you know what I mean? And it's just it's using that to then deal with what you're having to do, because you are spreading yourself too thin and you're trying to be that yes person all the time.
Yeah, all the time. Every day. I was just and if I couldn't get through it, I remember sometimes I'd go to sessions still up from the night before. Don't get me wrong, and I know that you wanted to talk about sort of the process of music and how drugs and alcohol go into that. Don't get me wrong, some of those tunes are fire.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's worth it. And I was very honest about it. I would never hide it. And I think that's another reason I didn't think I had a problem. And I still don't think I had a massive problem, because I was very open. I'd be like, yo guys, listen, I went out to a fire party last night. I've had 2 hours sleep. I'm still on it. I had a drink this morning just to get to this session, but let's fucking go. And I thought if I'm being honest and I'm showing up, it's not that bad. But it wasn't great. I wouldn't do that now.
No. But I was kind of, I used to do weird shit. Because I said in the previous interview, I used to get a buzz of taking gear with me home. I used to love it. So I'd be at a party and I'd be sort of looking at the bag and thinking, if I leave in the next couple of minutes, I've got enough to last me.
And you do it at home?
All on my own. So I'd that's what I mean. So I'd get it all set up. I'd put some music on. And then, I'd write some fucking mad poetry. Honestly, the craziest poetry could be about anything. But I'd have Nas Illmatic playing in the background.
I
think I was
it's
writing
a creative process.
Raps. Exactly.
What?
Mad. But now, if I was to sit down and try and write, poetry or something sort of artistic and creative, I can't fucking do it. It's like it's there. It's like a writer's block, and it was kind of like the drugs would open that up for me to do it.
Yeah,
that made sense.
That makes sense.
But it was some weird shit. Like, I could read it
back.
back
On your own.
Yeah.
See that, and I'm not judging. This is a judgment-free zone.
Don't fucking judge me.
That's fucking wild, though. On your own.
Yeah.
Writing poetry.
Yeah.
That's like low-key, like.
Yeah, I used to get like my beret on.
Yeah, it's kind of cute.
Write a sonnet.
But no, like I could keep like a bag in my handbag for a while. I'd forget about it. This is what I mean. Like, I never really thought I was bad. Still don't because of those reasons, and I'd never do it alone either. It was always like a social outside. Like, if I'm alone in my head, you know what I mean?
I mean, it's not like I didn't like being around people, but I think it was like a safety bubble for me. Like, being back at mine, like, it was comfortable. Like, I could just, like, if I wanted to do a key, I could just do a key and not worry about someone seeing me. If I wanted to do a line, I could do a line. And it was just, I don't know, like, most of the time, even with friends, like, you end up back at someone's gaff, and it's just like, it's quite a nice, like, oh, we're safe now. Do you know what I mean? Like, whack it out.
I would be like, we'd be out all night, and I'd be like, so, like, look, should we just do afters? And I used to host the afters every night of the week. Like, it was bad. Like, at that point, it was just like a revolving door. Like, you know, I lived in the middle of Portobello Road, so it was like everyone knew this house. And I lived with like two friends, and we had this huge house, and everyone just knew it as the after spot. But it was so, like, it's that safety thing. Like, we're all good in here. Like, and we'd just be dying to get back to the afters.
Yeah.
But
until the birds started singing in the morning.
Oh,
and you're
no,
like,
that
it's like your whole body, as soon as that sound of birds, your whole body just goes sober. And you're like, what am I fucking doing? Get out. Like,
no, horrible.
Let's get to bed, pretend I'm sleeping, and I'm not having a heart attack.
Every now and then I think about that, and I'm like, I get secondhand anxiety just from thinking, like, oh my God, imagine if I was out until the sun came up.
Yeah.
Like, it's not cute.
And then going to work.
Yeah, no.
You know?
No.
I couldn't imagine going into a fucking studio and trying to, like, put lyrics down to something.
I only did that a couple times because I really did try and keep, you know, my party time and my work time. So if I had a session the next day, I was very good at kind of being like going home. There's only a couple times, and it's mostly in LA because I'm in LA, and like this one thing is like, I need to go see those friends, and so I did that a couple times, like sort of rolled over a couple, but most of the time I would not do that. I think I cancelled like 2 sessions in my whole life because I was still up, and the guilt that I felt from doing that, not good.
It's not worth it, no.
So not worth it.
Was you quite good though in terms of if you knew you had shit going on the next day with work, like you would make a thing of, I'll just have a couple of drinks or I was good at that.
Yeah. And this is again, I keep going back to this, that's why I say I wasn't an addict, because I could say no.
Yeah.
But it's when I had that free reign, and like, you know, you're self-employed, you're a musician, you're like, I've not got any campaigns coming up, I've not got any songs that need to be recorded, I'd like given myself that break. I filled that break with shit.
Yes. So you're more like a binge drinker. Yeah.
I was a binger. Yeah. It's like I could have a couple of drinks at lunch and stuff, but a lot of the time I'd opt out of it if it wasn't going to lead to something. Because if I had one, like that was it, we're game over. If I'm having one, we're having 12. If we're having 12, we're having 100.
I just, even when people used to go, let's go for a beer, and I'd be like, what's the fucking point of going for a beer? Let's have that little that taste. I'm like, oh no, I've had the taste now, I want the rest.
Yeah, that's like giving you like one square of chocolate and being like, but I'm going to keep the rest. Like, fuck that. Like,
next week.
Let's go.
Give me the whole bar, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's that. Like, so I didn't really want to go out a lot unless I was going because again, going home, like peeling yourself away from the squad when everyone's having the best time ever.
Nothing good happens after 12 o'clock.
Nothing
it gets dark real quick.
Nothing good happens. It's not cute. No. It's not cute. And even in my sober journey, like this time, I have gone to a couple of afters, like just with my friends, like we're just like, oh, should we go to this thing? And I'm like, yeah, I'm still, like, I'm not that tired, of course I'll come. And obviously like everyone's like racking it up or like, you know, just like chatting shit, and you're sat there and I'm like, these conversations are so not cute.
And they're repeated.
Yeah.
It's the same shit.
It's the same,
and then someone adds a little bit.
2 or 3 things, and you're like,
yeah, I know you've been away on holiday, so and I know where you've been.
Or they get political, and I'm like, guys, no one knows what they're talking about. This is so lame. Everyone's fighting to tell their part of the story, and you're like, Yeah, no.
And trying to get a word in edgeways as well. It's just like people just shouting at each other.
Yeah,
but how does that make you feel, like, as you are sober now, when you see, I don't know, like your pals whacking up or, people knocking drinks back? Does it sort of, are you very comfortable in your own skin now and you're like, you crack on, you do what you got to do, like I've got no interest, but like fair play. If you've got a handle on that, I envy people now. I'm like, if someone can go and do that and not wake up the next day feeling depressed and horrible and like they shouldn't have done it, like I think like fair play to people. Do you know what I mean? If you haven't got a problem.
Yeah, if people want it, like, here's the thing, I don't think it has to be so, I mean, for some people, obviously, they really struggle with addiction, whatever. But I think some people they can just do their thing, enjoy themselves, go out, go to raves, go to the festival, do what you want to do, and like your life continues. Fucking love it. And I always say to my friends, because people are very, very polite and sweet, and they're like, "Honey, you don't mind if I drink?" Or like bring wine over, or like drink how I'm like.
It makes you feel awkward though, because there's no problem.
And I'm like, guys, like, I swear to God, I'm actually fine. Like, I have friends like rack up in front of me, do what the fuck they like. And I'm like, as long as you're not inconveniencing me, bugging me, annoying me, making it my issue, it's your life, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not a total Karen.
No.
Yet. I have Karen tendencies now, but I'm not really like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you're not there to tell people. You're not the fun police.
That's what I mean. I'm like, if I'm gonna go and see my friends, I'm not gonna then be like, well, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this.
But you can do it past this hour when I leave. Enjoy yourself.
I'm like, have fun. If I choose to show up and be here, like that's on me.
I've taken that decision. To
I have to be able to regulate my own shit.
Of course.
And not make it everyone else's problem.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm good at that. I am good at that.
What's like the biggest benefits you found on this sober journey in terms of, it could be relationships with your family, with your friends, with with your work, health?
All of the above.
All of the above.
All of the above are better. I think there's so much about being sober that you don't, like, your life's gonna get better.
Yeah.
You know that part. When like it's a given. Your life is gonna improve because you're present, you're there. But I didn't realise to the extent my health, my relationships with my family, we are so incredible now.
Yeah.
My friends, everything is so intentional with every one person in my life and everything that I do. I'm so purposeful with everything. Love a couple of vices. And my self-worth is like through the roof.
Yeah.
I think just because of the canon effect from every other decision that I make, it's just like, it's hard not to feel fucking incredible about your shit because you're being active and doing things that are going to better your life.
Yeah.
So I feel fucking amazing.
Do you feel more present as in yourself now? You feel present within yourself?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Instead of feeling like your brain's everywhere and you've got to be here and then you're not there. You're there, but you're not there, if that makes sense. Got a bit extra there,
bit
babe.
Of fluff. I feel present. And actually what's really, really strange, and I've said this to my friends with ADHD, like not trying to convert anyone to sobriety here, but ADHD, wild how much like more manageable it is now I'm sober.
Yeah.
Like I just thought, and I also like dealt with really bad mood swings and depression. I was on antidepressants for like 2.5 years. Oh, this is just my life now. This is just the way it is. No, I'm not on antidepressants anymore. And my life is so manageable. Like my brain, I still have my moments of like brain fog and anxiety and whatever, but like that existential dread mixed with like this lack of motivation and just like the world is ending feeling is like lifted. And everything is brighter. I'm like, life is so nice, so wonderful, it's so worth living.
You have all your senses though. Like I find even with you know what I mean, like breakups or stuff like that, like it's like the first time that I felt stuff emotionally. Do you know what I mean? And I've actually felt, I know like cliche, but like heartbreak and stuff like that. And it's, you know, instead of just going out and just getting over it by just getting fucked, you actually really feel those emotions. You're like, fuck.
And
like,
you have to just sit through them.
Yeah.
So this is the first thing I was like, what do you do? Like when you feel shit, you just have to
just sit there and think loads.
You sit through it. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean, my boy? What do you mean I sit through it? So I'm like sat there, I'm like, I feel sadness. But it's really like, it's weird because you learn to metabolize it so much quicker after a while. So now I'm like, I feel sad. And now I don't feel that sad anymore. And like now I'm probably gonna just like continue with whatever I'm doing. I'm gonna read a book, I'm gonna watch a show, I'm gonna write something down in my stupid little journal. I don't really know. But before I'd be like, I feel sad, and I'm gonna drink, and then I'd postpone that sad feeling till the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and eventually it catches up. It's like a million times worse, and you've like done all of this, like you've left this string of shit decisions in your wake, and you're like, oh my god, it's horrendous. When really it's not. It's that one little thing. You sit through it, you get over it, and you move on. Yeah, which is so fun.
No, it is.
You get over it. You're like, oh. I hurt for like 12 seconds, and now I'm fine.
You're done with it. Yeah, that anxiety, but you're anxious about real shit. Yeah. Like I get anxiety about, you know, with work, if something's going wrong, and it's not just, you know, I used to get fucking vibes on a Monday that I'd have for a heavy weekend, and I think there was cars following me.
Yeah, that's
do you know what I mean? Like getting anxious, or like the feeling of, oh, I've sent someone a silly message, or like at like 3 a.m, they're like, oh, you up?
That
like
was
that sort
the
of
worst.
Shit, like horrible.
Oh my god!
A flame emoji.
No, I used to oh god, I can't even tell you this. I used to get like on a night out when I was like banging a packet, right? Like especially because I've got ADHD, it's kind of like a lot of people that take have ADHD that take coke kind of feel like it's fixing stuff because you then go laser focus, and I'd go missing for like 25 minutes at a time, and my friends knew that I was just having my moment, and I would sit in the bathroom on the toilet and reply to emails and like reply to my team and like, or like producers that I was working with and be like, I'd put my headphones in and be listening to tracks that I'd made that week and be like, it's like 4 a.m, babes, what are you doing? But I'd be like, and like make to-do lists, and I thought it was like so productive, but it wasn't. It was just, and then I'd write myself notes for the next day because like I think my brain was going 100 miles per hour. So I'd be like, tomorrow, do this thing, and then the next day I'd be like, what is this absolute like jumbled mess?
Hieroglyphics.
Yeah, it was a
like,
mess.
Can't even make out what it says.
It was a mess, but it'd be like I had these amazing ideas, and then I'd see it the next day and be like, no. If that's what I was writing down to myself, I don't want to know what I was saying to other people because it is not cute.
But you get like these little surges of creativity, and you think like, I used to answer phone calls, like work calls and emails, and it's just not even thinking about shit, but you're just really cocksure, and it'd be about like rates and stuff, and I'd be like, no, we can get more money for that, like turning into like some big boss man, do you know what I mean? And it'd be like, just fucking back in your
just chill out,
you know what I mean? Calm down, go and talk to people. But with your ADHD though, because I've not really sort of spoken to you about that, how have you found that now? Got sort of with the sobriety?
Manageable. Yeah? Way more manageable. I still have my moments, but they are so few and far between now. Like I'm better at sticking to a routine and just knowing what works for me, and like I said, like sitting with certain emotions. Like the other day, oh my god, I had the worst anxiety ever, like the worst, and it gives you paralysis. Like I don't know if you know much about ADHD symptoms, especially in women. They come up in different ways for women than men, but what I find is like I have this mental paralysis where I get in the shower and I start fresh, and I just like cope better. and I give myself the moments to feel the shitty things.
Yeah.
And then I come back, and because I have that mental clarity now that's not clouded by being hungover or on a come down, or because it takes like 5 days for that shit to get out of your system.
Yeah.
And I never reached that 5-day mark. Fuck that, no way. So you have this mental clarity, so you can actually just do stuff, and you're like, it's really not that bad. And I'm like, logically, babe, like, is it that deep? And I always ask myself that. I'm like, is it that deep?
Yeah.
No. Like, is it life or death? No. You are privileged. You've got these amazing opportunities, this amazing life. You've got all these incredible things, and the joy that you're looking for, it's on the other side of those things that you're putting off. So just get your shit together, do them, and you can enjoy the rest of your day once you've done. And I just do it. Like you. Just do it. And so it's definitely a lot more manageable. Like I said, I never thought I'd come off of medication, but here I am.
Here she is.
Not saying to come off of your medication, but
take your meds, kid.
Please seek a medical professional. But for me, I just tapered them off, and it worked for me. And here I am.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What would you suggest to the viewers and listeners in terms of like methods that you found whilst going sober that helped you, like you said about keeping a journal, writing stuff down?
A journal.
Yeah.
I've kept a journal for a while. I also kept a journal through my entire last 2.5 years of my life. So that's really fun to read back. But keeping a journal, and people say to do this all the time, but genuinely, I love it. It really, really works for me. But my biggest piece of advice, I think, people that are sober curious would be, you can't outsource your mental health. So I always say that, I'm like, just because you're seeing a therapist doesn't mean you're getting better. You really need to do the work. And I, for the first time ever, wasn't relying on anyone. Like, I'm self-managed now, even in like my career. I took the power back in every sense of my life. So like, I'm not hiding from anything. I'm not having to, ask that person if that deal is going through or that thing. I know what's going on because I'm across everything. Yeah. And like, so taking that power back in every single piece that I could without being a total control freak, taking that power back and not outsourcing things unnecessarily was like my biggest thing. But also just really taking the time to spend time with yourself, and like, I love it in here now. I don't want to run. Like, the worst thing I would want to do is fuck her brain up. Like, I like her. I think it's really like working on actually enjoying yourself and enjoying the things in your life. And I don't think a lot of people really know how to do that because we're so conditioned to sort of like seek outside validation. But I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
I'm good for it.
I don't give a fuck. I'm like, I really enjoy it in here. I'm not running away from anything. And that's like, gymming, and it sounds so like they do go hand in hand.
No, it's true.
Like the gymming and the looking after yourself and like the fucking audio books and the meditation, like it really.
It's all shit.
I hate to say it, but it's it.
It's classic stuff that we was all aware of whilst we was doing it anyway, and it was like, oh fuck off, mate, talking about your sort of health and like eating
your
this
crystals,
way,
fuck off,
doing press ups. Like, we're off, mate.
But it is it.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I have to go like every day in the mornings. Yeah. You might not be able to tell, but no. But cheers. But no, I do enjoy it, and it just for the rest of the day, it just makes me feel good. Do you know what I mean? Like the endorphins are going, and it's just like I feel great. And when I don't do it, I do feel very sort of lethargic, and I feel a bit lazy, and my brain's a bit like
yourself.
You do.
I think that's what it is as well. I think a lot of people see going sober as you're taking something away, and my biggest mental switch was, I'm not taking anything, I'm bringing things in. So like, now I'm not hungover, I have time to gym. And like, I have time for this thing, I have time to call my mum for an hour in the morning, and like have a chit chat with her, and like check in with family members, and like, I'm bringing extra goodness in, I'm not taking anything out.
It kind of feels that you've got a load of stuff built up though, which you should have done, which you haven't done, and it's like, now I'm doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like this long list of things that you can now do freely, and you're quite happy to do so, but you should have been doing back then. Do you know what I mean? Like, in terms of like reconnecting with people or spending more time with family, or do you know what I mean? It's like,
and you think that you're kind of doing it at the time, but you're also not aware.
No.
You're not self-aware, I think, when you're like constantly, unsober. But yeah, I always say this, like at the moment, me now, even 8 months down the line, is still fixing things that I messed up years ago. And I'm like, I don't know how long this is going to take, but I'm finally enjoying the journey of it. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't care. It's hard, but it's so worth it.
Definitely.
I feel like I'm actually doing like a motivational chat, like TED Talk.
Here's my TED Talk.
Here's my TED Talk.
$15.99.
Yeah, it literally is. But yeah, it does. It feels really good.
Good. No, that's good. Yeah. I'd like to hear. We do a little section on here called Zero Hero. Okay. And it's basically what is your go-to 0% drink that you prefer now when you're out and about, in the club, at Chiltern Firehouse.
Oh, fuck off.
Your little socialite.
Oh, God.
Okay. So what's your go-to?
Yeah, my go-to, I like to have a ginger ale.
Nice.
But I always say, I'm like, can you make it look like it looks like fun?
Yeah.
Like, don't just shove it in the glass. I put like a garnish on there.
Of course.
So I feel like I'm part of the squad. Or like last night, my girls were all drinking Palomas at my friend's birthday dinner. And I was like, I don't know how a non-alcoholic Paloma tastes, but hit me with it.
Hit me.
It was fine. It was very sugary.
Yeah.
So I'll have like a non-alcoholic version of what the team's drinking, just like, because I want to feel like...
Yeah, of course.
I don't want to be the one with like the odd drink. And like, oh, she's the sober one.
Bottle of Evian, like, hi guys, cheers.
And I also love an Aperol Spritz if they have a different, like a non-alcoholic version of Aperol Spritz or a non-alcoholic gin and tonic. So I try and keep it as close to alcohol as possible because I don't like to feel bored. Like it feels boring to me to be drinking water.
Of course.
But ginger ale has that like little kick to it. Like the ginger tricks you into it.
Bit of heat.
Yeah, a little bit of heat. So that's usually what I have. And I started off doing non-alcoholic espresso martinis, and everyone's just like, so it's iced coffee and an espresso glass. I'm like, yeah, it is.
Bitch, don't kill my vibe.
Don't kill my vibe. It looks cute though. But I do that less now because I don't want to be like bouncing off even the caffeine's too much. Yeah. You know, I'm a matcha galley now. But yeah, those are my drinks.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Blythe, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
That's the end of that sort of trauma for you.
I loved
bringing
it.
Stuff
I
up.
had the best time.
But no, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank
and it's
you.
been great having you.
Thank you. I love talking about myself. So I had the best time.
Can't tell.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's episode 2 done, in the bag. Like, share, follow, and I'll see you next time.